Lots, don't you? What other ones do you have? Bananas?
I want bananas, please.
Banana split ones, yes.
You got small ones?
You like it?
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand? Well, good afternoon, everyone. So, some people standing, you don't have to, there are plenty of seats. So there's plenty of seats scattered around the chapel, so please don't feel you have to stand for the service. My name is Steve Parsons. I'm a member of the Funeral Celebrants Association of Australia, and it's my great honour to be conducting this service as we come together as friends and family and community to remember the life of Sharyn and English, known to you by many different names, including Shaz. On behalf of Simplicity Funerals, I welcome you, acknowledge the many family and friends who are with us today, but also let's think about family and friends who can't be here today. Let's just consider those who would like to have been here, but various circumstances can't be with us today, so let's spare a thought for them. Following our service here in the chapel, there will be some drinks and some finger food back at the Balgownie Hotel along Balgownie Road. I think most of you know where that is. It's probably from here, what do the locals reckon, 25 minutes, 20 minutes from here? It's not very far. Stick it in your sat-nav, Balgownie Hotel, Balgownie Road, and a chance for you to tell your stories about Sharyn's life, and you all have your own stories, and it's important that today that we don't just have a service here, that when you go back to the Balgownie Hotel, that also becomes part of today's service. That's when you tell your stories. That's your part of today's ceremony. So I hope many of you can make it there today. If you haven't already done so, just make sure your mobile phones are turned off with you, or turned to silent, just whatever suits you. Today, we come together to mourn the loss of a much loved lady, and the fact that there are so many people here today is testament to the fact that Sharyn was loved by so many people. A funeral service such as this one is very special on so many different levels, because it reminds us, well, it should remind us, that life is fragile, and life exists between the birth and the death of each and every one of us. And let's face it, by today's standards, 74 is not that old, really, is it? You know, the average life expectancy of a female in this country these days is about 86. So there were still more mountains to climb and roads to travel and journeys to be had. And we're all on this journey called life. Some time ago, a family sent this to me and they asked me to read this at a funeral, and I've been reading it for the last 6 or 7 years. And it just says, every minute someone somewhere leaves this world behind. And we're all standing in the line, and we don't think about it. We don't realise it. We don't know that we're all standing in the line. None of us can move to the back of the line. We can't step out of the line. We can't avoid the line that we're all standing in. So while you're waiting in line, make every moment count. Do the things that you love to do. Make someone smile. Make a nobody feel like a someone. Make change for the better. Make up with those that you're estranged from. Make peace. Make sure that you tell your family how much you love them. Make sure you have no regrets, and make sure that you're ready when you get to the front of the line, whenever that may be. How true is that? We're all standing in this line, and we don't know. We don't know what place we're in the line that we're standing in. So today, let's think about that, but let's remember the life of a beautiful soul who's been lost to us. And I ask you to be one with your sorrow and your sadness, but we also should be grateful that Sharyn lived and walked in this world with us for those 74 years. We should be grateful of that. We need to be grateful of the fact that she reached out and she touched your life. We need to be grateful of the memories that she's left all of you, that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. Let's be grateful of that. And I guess most of all, more than anything, we need to be grateful through the family that she leaves behind, through her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and that is a beautiful legacy that Sharyn leaves this world. And she may be gone, but in a certain way she isn't gone, because she lives on through the many faces that are out here in this congregation today. She lives on through the family that she leaves behind. It's the great wheel of life, it's the great circle of life, it's the never-ending tapestry of life. And she's still with us through the family that she leaves. So, I guess the easiest way is to quote Dr. Seuss, who back in the 60s said, "Don't be sad that it's over, be glad that it happened." And that's a good way of looking at things today. I'm going to ask Jenny to come forward with our short review.
Welcome and thank you for joining us in remembering Sharyn. Sharyn was born on the 30th of the 3rd, 48, and one of 6 girls, the younger of her twin Colleen. A mum of 9 children, 19 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. As we know, Sharyn lived a colourful life, and the simplest of things was all she needed. As long as she had a music, a jukebox, and a beer in hand. Many a mistake was made, but she tried her utmost to amend these as best she could. Sharyn entrusted me with organising her day, and many a conversation was had, and did not make a fuss. Well, guess what? I did. Some of you may know her as Shaz, Auntie Shaz, Aunt, Nana, Mum. And just to end, I'm sure we have a memory of her that comes to mind, that we recall, and it brings a smile or a chuckle.
Thanks, Jenny. As we said at the beginning of the service, it's important that you all have your own eulogies for Sharyn today. You don't need to verbalise them, but you need to think about them in here. You need to roll them over in your minds. You need to think about her, and you need to think about the part that she played in your journey and how she affected that journey. It's important that you do that today. Words are one thing, but the love that you carry inside you is a different thing, and you should treasure that today. You should treasure that today. There's a big screen here in the chapel. Let's relive some memories on the screen.
I wish that heaven had visiting hours, so I could just show up and bring the news that she's getting older. And I wish that you met her, the things that you learned from me, I got them all from you. If I just stay a while, we'll put all the world to rights. The little ones will grow and I'll still drink your favorite wine. And soon they're going to close, but I'll see you another day. So much has changed since you've been away. I wish that heaven had visiting hours, so I could just swing by and ask your advice. What would you do in my situation? I hadn't a clue how I'd even raise them. What would you do? 'Cause you always do what's right. And we just talk a while till my worries disappear. I'll tell you that I'm scared of turning out a failure. You'd say, remember that the answer's in the love we feel. So much has changed since you've been away. I wish that heaven had visiting hours, and I would ask them if I could take you home. But I know what they'd say, that it's for the best. So I will live life the way you taught me and make it on my own. I will close the door, but I will open up my heart. And everyone I love will know exactly who you are. 'Cause this is not goodbye, it's just till we meet. So much has changed since you've been away.
seen that one before. I was there, that one.
You're lucky to have those old photos, aren't you? Aren't they fantastic?
Yeah.
Beautiful
Yes.
family memories.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, wasn't it? The memories.
Yeah.
It's because the memories, look, nothing can take those memories
No.
from you because they're indelible. You know, this may sound like a funny thing to say, but as long as you tell somebody stories, as long as you keep looking at the photos, as long as you speak their name, they're still with us. A fellow called Stephen Cooper said it best in a book years ago. He said, I'll never forget reading this, he said, the only true death is to be forgotten. Because when you're forgotten, when the last person that knew you speaks your name for the last time, you're gone. But as long as we speak somebody's name, tell their stories, look at the photos, and keep them in our hearts, they remain with us. The only true death is to be forgotten. A lady called Ellen Brenneman many years ago wrote, don't think of her as gone away because her journey has just begun. Life holds so many facets, and this earth is only one. Just think of her as resting from the sorrows and the tears in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days and no years. Think how she must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness could really pass away. And think of her as living in the hearts of those she touched, for nothing loved is ever lost, and she was loved so much. Let's take a moment to think about Sharyn's life, to think about the part she played in your journey. And if anybody has flowers, they could bring them forward and place them now, or just take a moment's reflection.
If you'd like to place your flowers, you're more than welcome. Unfortunately, our system has just gone kaplunk and we are trying to get it fixed. I can't play the piece of music right at this moment, but please feel free to come and place your flowers. Thank you.
Noble Flowers, thank you all. Thank you for your attendance today. I know many of you, who's going back to Balgownie Pub? Well, I hope you have a great afternoon there. I hope you tell your stories, have a couple of drinks, have a bite to eat, and catch up with family and friends, perhaps some that you haven't seen for a long, long time. We now leave the memory of Sharyn in peace, and with love and respect, we say our final farewell. And as you all leave this place today, may you find richness and example in those memories that we've been talking about for the last half hour. May you find strength and support in your love and your friendship for one another. And maybe not today, but eventually, may you find peace in your heart. There's a little poem on your memorial brochure that we'll finish with. It's a really lovely verse that says, "The tide recedes, but leaves behind bright seashells and sand. The sun goes down, but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, yet it echoes on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains." Let's go in peace. Thank you.